in this video, we're going to have a look at the condition and formula section. And we've got these 3 blocks in there that we're going to have a look at. And we're going to start off with the first block, the condition block, light orange kind of color. And I think this is probably the most used block in FX Dreamer. This is where we're going to set up conditions for a trade to happen. And I'd like to incorporate the use of a custom indicator as well to make it easy for people to understand. And to do this, we're going to have to import a custom indicator into FX Dreamer. And to do that, let's have a look at which one we're going to use. We just use the PZ reversal fractal indicator. And first off, we're going to look at properties of the indicator. And this is what we're going to import into FX Dreamer. Okay, so to get this, what I normally do is I just right-click, click on Indicators List, click on the name of the indicator, click on Properties, and then under the Inputs tab, you will see all the settings for the indicator. And this is what we want to import. Okay, to import this into FX Dreamer, you're going to click on My Indicators, click on Add Custom Indicator, click on Choose File, and you're going to go to your indicators folder where it's located. And that specific indicator has been downloaded through the market, so it will be under the market folder. So it's an EX5 file type, which means we're going to have to manually input all the settings. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 settings that needs to be added. Make sure you add every single one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. First one is a string in lowercase. The string doesn't have a label, but you're going to have to put one there. Dreamer doesn't like blank blocks or blank names. It will delete it and then it won't work. Next one is an integer. 0 at 0, 1 indicates it's an integer, so let's type an INT. Next one is also an integer. Next one is a string, and it's blank, so just make a label. Use the correct spelling on the colors as well. And make sure it is capital letters and small letters as well. String. Another string. Next one's a bunch of bulls. And that is a bull. That icon. A whole bunch of 2, 3, 4. This is a copy and paste. And then mail, alerts, push, alerts, sound, alerts. And just copy and paste false. Okay. I just double check and make sure that they all are the same. Looks good. And then for the buffers, I know for sure that this indicator has 2. I'm just going to name them 1 and 2. It only shows 1 here, but I did a test before to see which buffers work, and it has buffer 0 and 1 working. Well, I'll label them 1 and 2. Doesn't matter. You can put any label you want. You can name it blue and red if you want. And I'll show you as well how I got there to do a simple test to see how an indicator works on FX Stream, and then use the buffer to create a signal so you can use it in a trade. Click on update and then close it. Okay. Something isn't right here. Now it moves. Okay. So, first thing we want to do is maybe test out and see what the indicator, how the indicator works. And to do that, we'll just use a draw text block. You see the values the buffer creates, or the buffers creates. This block can create 1 object per block. Just make sure that's no. If it's on yes, the values will overlap and it'll create a mess. You can test it yourself and you'll see. If you click on no, it refreshes the number. And here we will select by X and Y coordinates. X is left and right, and Y is up and down. So we'll do 10 by 10, 10 pixels right and 10 pixels down. And then we will select the custom indicator under My Indicators. PZ Reversal Fractal MT5. And then we'll select Output Buffer 1 and Candle ID 1. And we can maybe change the color to something else, purple or something. And just copy it for the next buffer. And then we'll do small change in where it's positioned. So we did 10 pixels down, and now we'll put it underneath. So we'll do next one, say 30 pixels down, and then select buffer 2. Well, it's actually buffer 1. They will see 0 and 1. That's buffer 0 and buffer 1. But I labeled it 1 and 2. And then just select a different color. Teal. Update. Let's just disable these ones for now. We'll save it. And then go back to MT5. Refresh to see the new EA. I saved it in my other broker. Okay. Let's remove it from here. Okay, so refresh again, and then we're gonna test it out. Make sure you've selected your expert. Select the symbol you want to have tested. Select the time frame you want to test it on. The period. You can do entire history, last month, last year, or custom period. And then for now, we'll just do 1 minute OHLC. It's a lot quicker. And we just want to see how this indicator works. So make sure visual mode is selected. Click on Start. And then here at the top, you'll see a bunch of numbers. This number specifically indicates that the indicator is invisible. We're just waiting for the indicator to draw something. And on your first run, it'd be good to check your journal to make sure that the indicator is loaded. There will be an error message if the indicator doesn't load. So fortunately here it says that it's loaded. I have duplicated this from the marketing to the root indicators folder as well. This makes it a bit easier. Otherwise, you have to add that in the settings in Grima for the indicator. Let's get a signal. Okay, so can't remember. Is that a 0 or a 1? See if I can catch it. Okay, so that was a 1. Okay, so the red arrow going down shows 1 on buffer 0. And if I remember correctly, I think the up arrow is a 0. We can test that. So to create your first EA using this indicator, what we do is we use this condition block. We switch it on. You use this condition block. You select your indicator under My Indicators. EZ reversal fractal, select it, and then open up the More Settings tab. There you will see candle ID. You want to set that to candle 1 to verify that that arrow showed on the previous candle. It's very difficult to trade on candle 0 because candle 0 constantly moves. It's always on the move. That arrow can appear and disappear, and it can mess up your trade. So rather wait for candle 1. Rather wait for the arrow to appear on candle 1, and then you know for sure that it's definite. Your signal is then definite. And then what we want to do is output buffer. We saw that on buffer 0, it showed a value. Select value on the right hand side, a value of 1. Update. Okay, so we want to do the opposite. We want to do the same for the buy condition. Same buffer, but the value is going to be 0. Update. So left is buy side and right is sell side. Grab the buy block and connect it, and also this sell block for the right. Tidy it, make it nice and tidy. Put it in a box. Okay. And to add to that, to confirm that it is doing what we want it to do, we'll add something like a line. Draw a line. You can put it on like that. You can join it like that. Or you can join it underneath. It doesn't matter. It just means that it will happen in this order. It will see the condition, it will buy and then draw the line. Where if you do it like this, it will do the buy and the drawing of the line at the same time. So in this case, we will select yes, this block can create 1 block per bar. And we want a vertical line. We'll do candle time and we'll just set it on 0. The line will draw as soon as the trade happens. I always set this to 90. I don't know if that matters or not. I think it only matters when you use trend lines. I'm not sure. And we'll change the color to something green, make it a solid line, increase the size of the line, put it in the background, and update. We'll do the same for sell, copy, paste. And then we'll change the color to something red. And that looks good. And we'll do a quick test. Save your EA. And then go back to your broker. Stop this test first. Stop the whole program. Anyway, let's do let's restart it. So you don't need to do a refresh when you've restarted the whole program. But anyway, you just select a different EA and then the EA you want running to refresh it. Click on start. Okay, so it started trading. Just want to see what it did. Did it do a buy? Did it buy and a sell? So now we have to fix this. So the first thing we need to do is so it doesn't flood it with trades, is add a time filter. Let's do a once per bar. Actually, you can just join them and it uses 1 block. You can save on blocks that way. You can do it separately. You can have 1 per bar on both this way, or you can have just the one once per bar block and just connect both conditions to that block. Simple and easy. And that will prevent your MT5 being flooded with trades, because it will just continuously buy or sell without that block. You can either add this 1 per bar block, or you can say, if you first check if there's a position, you can add this no position block as well and swap it for that one. So group mode, just say for now all, and symbol mode any symbol, and then filter by type, either buys or sells. Just be aware that robots can interfere with each other. EAs can interfere with each other if it's not set right. So you have to be very careful when you use 2 EAs or 3 EAs at the same time. You have to start maybe using groups and specifying which EA uses what symbol. So just be aware, be careful when using multiple EAs at the same time, because they can handle each other's trades if not set up correctly. Okay, so you can also use this no position block. Well, what that does is it looks and sees if there is currently a trade happening. If there's no trade happening, it will start a trade. That's what this block specifies. The other thing we needed to fix is add another condition. For buffer 1, the one I labeled 2. So basically what I mean by that is if we go back during the test, there are 2 buffers, right? So when we have a red arrow, both of these have to show 1 to be certain that the signal is given. That's why it was doing buys and sells at the same time. Let's just double check and make sure. I'm going to set this to buffer 1 and then say that it must show 0 as well. You can update and then this one, set it to buffer 1. You can update and let's test it out and see. Okay, so you see what I did there? I just went and selected different EA and select the EA I just saved again. It's just a quick refresh. You can double check and make sure. You'll see if you've got inputs in that. It'll refresh the inputs as well if you added any. And if you really want to make sure that's a different EA, you can add a text block to say version 1 and version 2 and version 3. I can show you how to do that as well. So that you're certain that the EA is refreshed, because it's nothing more frustrating than not working with the newer version of an EA that you just modified, and then going, why is my EA not working right when I've just modified it? We'll quick test and see if it trades right now. Okay, so it did 1 trade. And it's quite funny because it started trading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks away from the signal. So the other thing is as well, see, just make the pips a bit higher as well. So on default, it's got a stop loss of 50 and a take profit of 50 pips. I'm just gonna, let's do maybe 300, see how that goes. I'm going to play with it a bit more. Let's make it 500. Take profit 500. Because I guess in this case, we're going to have to use once per bar because it's 300 pips. It loses $30, and then it does a trade again and again and again. So on the same bar. So in that case, what you want to do is add that time filter and do a 1 per bar time filter. You can just add it on top. Go back to that. Here we go. It's done a lot less. It's done 2 trades. And this EA is not doing too great. But it's just a demonstration to get you going. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's trading. It's following the signals. And that's basically how you create an EA. I'll do another one with a different indicator. So I've selected another indicator for an example, and I picked this one specifically because it's got this drop-down menu from where you can select a setting. And to add that kind of thing, that kind of indicator with that setting into FX Dreamer, you're gonna have to change that enumeration to an integer. What I mean by that is, here you can see this icon, which means it's an enumeration. But we don't know what that enumeration name is. So instead of trying to figure that out, all you have to do is change it to an integer. And to select one of the settings, you're going to count from 0 downward. So RSI, the first setting will be 0. And then CCI will be 1. So when you want to select a different setting, you just go by the number value down the list. Here I've selected 0, which means it's set to RSI. Oscillator integer, here is an enumeration, set to 0, and in the drop down, it's set to 0. RSI is on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. ATR will be 10, and RSI will be 0. And if we want to create some sort of signal from this indicator, we'll do something like maybe a line that crosses another. I think a good one would be maybe something like the red line crosses over the yellow line. And we now have to figure out which buffer is which. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so there's one extra buffer. So there is one extra buffer, but fortunately we can see the names. So red we'll have to somehow compare and see which buffer is which. I'm gonna have to go back to where I've added the indicator. And add another buffer. So that I can see which line goes to which buffer. Okay, to do that, we'll do draw text. So we can get the values. Select the indicator. And then we want to test all the buffers. We start with buffer 1. And let's just do it live, candle 0, because we want to compare. That's okay. Just copy it. And then move it down a bit. Select the second buffer. Okay. Okay. Okay, save it. So basically what we've done here is we are going to write the values down on one of in the main window of MetaTrader, and then compare those values to figure out which buffer goes for which line. Okay. And then for each box, each value that I want to draw, I just moved it down by 30 pixels. So 10, and then the next one down is 30, and the next one down is then 60. Okay, and then we're going to run the test. Remember, visual mode must be ticked. Pause it. Okay, so you're going to look at one, two, three, four, five, six. You'll see that when you move your mouse on the screen, on the main chart, or on the indicators chart, the values appear in the data window. To get the data window, by the way, is Control D. Control D opens up the data window that shows all the values for all the indicators. So, what is the last value? 63, 27, 45, 43. So they all line up, right? Some indicators don't line up the same way. Buffers doesn't line up the same way as what they do when you put it or when you add it into FXREMA. Sometimes some of the values swap. I don't know why, it just happens sometimes. Just programmed differently, probably. Okay, so since they're in line, let's just close this. And it's easy to figure out which line is which now. So gold, red, blue. Blue, red, gold. Blue. Okay, so it looks like the last three buffers, main, signal, and trend, are the three colors. And we can test it by using the condition block. Let's just delete this old one. And we are going to say that when the red line crosses over the gold line, then we're going to trade. We're going to do a buy. And to do that, two, three, four, five, six. So buffer 5 has to be above buffer 6. Okay, so buffer 5 has to be above buffer 6 on candle 1. Updates. And this is going to be our buy now. Condition. And what are we going to do for a sell position? When red crosses above blue. Should I say when blue crosses under red? Yeah. When blue crosses under red. So buffer 4 below red. Buffer 4 crosses below red. I think I'll do the same for the other condition. Crosses above. And that specifically indicates that You don't want to trade when the lines are just above or under. Like it'll trade anyway where red is above yellow for the buy condition. It'll trade anywhere here. But what we want to do is to trade exactly at the point where it crosses. That's where we want to start our trade. And that's what the setting is for, crosses above. Update, update, so we've got a buy and we've got a sell. And to check and see that it trades at the right place, we're going to add a line. Draw a line. So we're sitting must be on guess. Do a vertical line, candle time 0. I'm going to set that to 90. And then we'll do a different color. And same for the sell condition. Do like a reddish color. And I'll test it out. Click refresh. Okay, so remember to add only once per bar. Otherwise, you'll get flooded with trades. The other things you can see, there's two different windows currently in the tester, and that's because the settings are different. So if I had to set this to the same setting as the ones in the conditions, it should show just one window. See, now it's just one window. Just pause one moment, and I want to compare what are we trading US tick. That's good. Blue crosses below, that's good. Let's just tweak it a bit. Set this to 300 and this to 1,000. One good trade so far. And I think we should increase the pips even more. And it looks like it does what it's supposed to. Red line crosses above yellow, and then it trades blue line below red, and then it sells. It's good. So it works as expected. So that is basically the condition block. Next one is going to be this condition block. And we mostly use this as a switch. Say buy. On. You can name it anything basically. You can name the switch anything you want. And let's do a sell side as well. Okay, so for this to work, you're going to have to add it as a constant. And it must be a bool. It's going to be our switch. Just make sure the name is the same. I just normally do a copy and paste. True and true. Update. Okay. So basically what this block does in this instance, because I know there's other things you can use it for, but we mainly use it for a switch, to use it in an optimizer. So the optimizer can choose whether or not to switch it on or off. It can look at it and say, yeah, it makes the trading better, or it doesn't. And it can choose to switch it on or off. So you can also use it to manually select whether or not you want something switched on or off. Do you want to have it? Do you want the buy side enabled and the sell side enabled? We'll just use default and then we'll save it. So I can show you how this works. reload the EA. And then now you've got in the inputs, you can turn it on or off. And the optimizer can do the same. The optimizer can switch it on and off. And that's basically what we use that condition block for. It's great switches. So also when you take that EA and you drop it onto a chart, it will be available in the inputs. Do you want to switch it on and off? Do you want the buy side on? Do you want the sell side on? You choose. And obviously you can link it to anything else you want. Many options. So that's our switch block. And then the next block is formula. And it does basic formulas and throw it into a variable. So let's create one called math. You can name it whatever you want. And then depending on what you want it to calculate, it can be either a double or an integer. So do double for now. You can do a double or an integer. Integer, int, or double, which means it's got a decimal value. And to demonstrate how this works, you can feasibly build a counter of some kind to say that it should be something here above and below. Switch it up. It's going to count trades. It's set up to count trades, and it has to do a formula. So let's just do a loop math +1 and then add it back. Just add this block here. So every time it does a trade, it'll add 1. And remember to do a once per bar block so it doesn't flood MT5 with trades. Save it. Oh no, we also want to see it, so we're gonna have to add a text block. Right, 10. No. And then it's going to be numeric. And it's going to be math. Update. We'll run a quick test. Okay, so every time it trades, it adds 1. And that's how you use the formula block You can use it for quite a lot of other things as well. Do adjustments on trailing stops. Maybe somehow use it in a Fibonacci trade, some kind. Anything you want, or anything you want to calculate. Calculate how many trades you want to do with the amount of liquidity you've got. All kinds of things. You can do something like current market, ask price, and then add 20 pips as a price fraction. Let's just do it as a value as is, small settings. And then with this you can create like a stop loss of some kind. Let's do that just for the hell of it, as an example. Okay, so it's going to add it to itself for stop loss plus 10, and then we'll do minus for the buy. Minus. Update. Buy. Stop loss buy. And then we'll add one for sell. Stop loss. Sell. Update. Okay, we'll do plus for the sell side. Change that to bid. Okay, so on trade, it will change those variables. And those variables is going to set our stop loss. It's going to create a line that's going to act like a stop loss. So, condition, when just say when candle ID 0 is above the value of numeric stop loss buy, then trading actions close positions. And then we'll just do a copy. Make sure this is set to all any symbol buys. Update. Or any symbol sells this time. Update. And then this changes to sell. Update. And then we can do can do something like draw a line to indicate those stop losses. The horizontal line, and then we'll do value and stop loss buy. Line green for the buy side. Make it a bit bigger, make it like 2. Copy it and paste it for the other side. And now you've created an invisible stop line, which your broker can't see. There you go. Just a little bit. We'll just completely disable the stop loss. No stop loss. And profit on 1,000 pips. Just to test it out. And obviously these conditions will not work. Let's just do a crosses above and crosses below. Try 50. Looking a bit better. And yeah, this is a line your broker can't see, and basically what you've done now is set a stop loss. so that when the price goes below that line, it ends the trade. And it's invisible. You can do the same thing for take profit as well. And that's basically the 3 blocks in the condition and formula section. If there's any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section, and I'll do my best to help you out. Thank you. Bye.